Welcome back, you filthy exiles, and I thought I'd do a video just covering off on my use of the Dark Monarch. So, I guess where I left off the other day, and I obviously haven't been on stream for the last 2 nights, but we'll be back online tonight, is more or less with the Dark Monarch. We'll just turn this down. The Dark Monarch is a new item that's currently in Path of Exile, right? So, this is a new drop that doubles the number of minions you have, but the downside just sort of outweighs some of the significant advantages that it could potentially have. And part of this is because of things like, for example, zombies don't really scale as well as specters and carrion golems and golems in general. And we'll talk about this as we go through the video. So I've been doing a bit of testing over just getting a zombie mancer working, right? So the idea is delve zombies, we're CI, we have nearly 5,000 ES. We have some defense capping to do here on reses, but we're max block, we run Aegis Aurora, all the good stuff, right? So basically I had the concept in my head that, we would run the Dark Monarch and have 20 zombies. So as you can see, I have 20 zombies in front of me. But there has become some, like, it's not horrible. I wouldn't call it absolutely horrible, but there are definitely some massive issues that come with this, and I'll show you in a map that we'll run now. So basically this is just this is a T16 bog, right? It's taken a fair bit, like it's level 85, but it's taken a fair bit and a lot of investment to sort of get this to any sort of state that's somewhat workable. And the issue with like so many zombie minions is you can't really focus on the support that you would normally need for this type of setup. So like, this is T16, sort of seems like it's good, right? Ish. The problem is like, there's just no way for me to easily give minions, for example, frenzy charges and power charges, which is one of the actual issues with saying, the Dark Monarch could be really cool or useful to do like massive minion armies. In concept and theory, it is cool and useful. And maybe if you had, for example, the sword and squire setup for zombies, it could actually be quite a useful item where you can build a lot more power that way, but you lose a lot of defense, and this build is designed for defense. But as you can see, like even at level 31 for my zombies, right? And by the way, you can't use zombies as slamming because their HP pool just is not high enough for a large number of use cases, and even then they still tend to get rolled. There tends to be a fair bit of an issue in trying to scale this up. So as you can see, like the damage is just very slow. For T16 mapping, this just isn't enough. And like, yeah, they've got 55% more monster life, all these things. But then we start to have a look at some of the stats with this, the disadvantage side. So anyway, this just gives you a bit of an idea of what 20 zombies looks like, and it's just not as good as what it would be with like 3 specters and AG running. And obviously, like, we're also running gear, like blood price. We've got stacking with pride. Like, we are deficient. We need to get pride on our setup as well because I lost my my pride stacker. So that'll give me more damage, and we're running Perkle's Toe and stuff like that. We have a lot of like stats we need to really buff up on our Merc to basically buff this up. We also need to get a decent AG on this, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the redemption arc that this build's going to need right now. So basically where I'm at is I need to go back to my original plan, which is running just 10 zombies and then stacking up buffs on zombies. So this is where I guess the conversation I want to have here is Dark Monarch, as with many other new items, may initially look like a really cool concept, but the use case for builds like zombies running Dark Monarch and stuff like that just isn't there because zombies just needs a lot more balancing in the game. But let's have a look at the POB and I'll show you exactly where some of the issues actually are. Okay, so this is the POB at about level 92, so this is 7 levels greater than what I have currently. Now, total DPS is 5.3 million. This is just far too low. Like, even to take it into Delve, things like that, it's not enough. Now, the big issues here are around the amount of DPS that I get into the build. Now, there's obviously things I need to do to scale this better, but, we're looking at Awakened Minion damage, level 33, Raised Zombie. These are pretty strong, like Empower level 4. So already we're starting to look at some severe levels of investment, but without things like Spectres, like Carnage and Host Chieftains, the ability to give my... And this is actually scaled up to beyond that. It's actually only like 275 DPS, which is 4.23 mil. Some people may be like, oh, that's a lot of damage. That's, for a minion build, very low amounts of damage. Now, we have a look in comparison, right? And I'll provide this POB to you guys as well. But if we have a look in comparison to where we run like, a a Spectre setup with 10 zombies and things like that, we're looking at total aggregate DPS of 15.7 mil. And by no means is this the most amount of damage in the world, but it also means my character is able to focus on defensive stats as well. And obviously we have negative mana here because we're looking at running a Pride Aura on our Mercenary, and then we use like the buff rings to get around that. We get to about 1.7 mil per zombie. Now, currently, like if we divide that, divide by 2 running the other setup, we get to like 400k to like 450k per zombie. Something of that nature, or it's closer to, what's that? Yeah, 525,000 DPS per zombie. But as you can see, it's just not enough. This just like hits at a whole different level when we scale it. It's like 2.5 times more DPS per zombie just running this with aura buffing and stuff like that. So basically, what I have to do at my build now, if you guys have been following along, is I need to take away the helm that we're running, which is the Dark Monarch, and we need to go back to running like a Hubris Circlet. We need to basically scale up to +2 minion skill gems. We still need an Incandescent Heart with an implicit +2 corrupt as well, which we're going to have to get one that's unlinked and then 6-link it, which means we're going to have to farm corrupted materials because it's just too expensive to buy them raw. And I'm going to have to use my Sunder build for a bit longer to basically farm up more currency because I've already sunk about 30 div into my minion build, and it's just not coming through the way that I need it to. There's also other things that I need to do, like I need to basically get a better Convoking one that gives me more minion damage. I also need to get more Awaken Jewels into my setup, or gems into my setup as well, so I need to make Awaken Melee Fizz and Brutality, things like that. And obviously I need to level up more as well, so that's the given here, right? But yeah, I thought I'd do a really quick video. I'll provide all the POBs as well for all of this stuff. Now, there are issues down here. It just doesn't like the unreserved mana taking into account the Merc gear. So I have Merc gear in here too. And finding the right Merc is basically where the pain point is currently with this build. But yeah, aside from that, once I can overcome these issues, then I'll put out like a full guide for the build. But I thought I'd do a bit of an update as to where I'm at with zombies at the moment. Zombies are notoriously not that good to scale with. Like, in past leagues, I've had more luck with zombies because they sort of kept up. This league, it's really, I don't know, it feels hit and miss, even with the new gear and stuff like that, and the multiplicative changes. Some other things to keep in mind when looking at use cases for Dark Monarch, and coming back to the case point here, right, if we have a look at Dark Monarch in the actual league for mercenaries, what we can actually see is, like, here's some use cases for Dark Monarch, right? So number one is doubling your raised specters. This will get you to, I think you can get up to 5 raised specters, as high as like 6 potentially. But basically, based on gem level as well as based on +1 specter chesting, you could get up to 10 to 12 raised specters, which is a lot of raised specters. And because specters can provide you buffs, they're actually a really good use case for where raised specters would be good. No raised specter build has ever been as good to me as Frostborns from like Crucible League from memory. But yeah, that's also a thing. Definitely like Flame Golems as well seems to be really popular. Flame Golems are Horde, which is really interesting that's actually a build. Like, this is a totally wild build, and I have no idea how this actually works, but it actually looks phenomenal. This is something that could be really cool to like test out and try as well. So I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to play around with fire golems. If you want me to have a play around with fire golems, I'm more than happy to do so. Farming this kit isn't too bad, but the EHP on this isn't all that. Actually, EHP is pretty good, to be honest with you. That's actually quite good. But yeah, and well, Mage Blood too. But yeah, that being said, I want to do a quick video just covering off on that. So moral of this video, if it doesn't seem so targeted, I'm just sort of riffing off the cuff here. I'll provide all the POBs. Can't recommend doing zombies right now until I fix my build. But yeah, Dark Monarch has limited use cases as far as my testing goes, at least with zombies. It's not going to be something that you just slap on a build and make it work. And I think, like, in concept and theory, it's really cool, but in practicality, it just needs a lot of investment and balance. Like, you know, Mage Blood is what, 250 div, something like that, maybe 200 div now. I haven't checked. But yeah, no, this isn't like cheap investment sort of stuff. But yeah, anyway, I thought I'd do a quick video just to cover off on it. Anyway, I'll see you guys a little bit later on stream, and have a good one.